Statement by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia regarding Palestine. Donald Trump's plan for the United States to take over and own Gaza. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs reaffirms the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's unwavering, steadfast, and resolute position on the establishment of a Palestinian state. This position has been unequivocally emphasized by His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Al Saud, Crown Prince and Prime Minister, may God protect him, in his address during the inaugural session of the 9th term of the Shura Council on 15 Rabi al-Awwal 1446 AH, corresponding to the 18th of September 2024 CE. On this occasion, he underscored that the kingdom will not cease its efforts to realize the establishment of an independent Palestinian state with East Jerusalem as its capital, and that the kingdom will not establish diplomatic relations with Israel absent this condition. His Royal Highness reiterated this firm stance at the extraordinary Joint Arab-Islamic Summit held in Riyadh on 9 Jamada al-Awwal 1446 AH, corresponding to the 11th of November 2024 CE. During the summit, he stressed the imperative of continuing efforts to establish a Palestinian state based on the 1967 borders with East Jerusalem as its capital, called for an end to the Israeli occupation of Palestinian territories, urged peace-loving nations to recognize the state of Palestine, and emphasized the need for the international community to mobilize support for the rights of the Palestinian people. This aligns with the United Nations General Assembly resolution affirming Palestine's eligibility for full UN membership. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia further reaffirms its categorical rejection of all violations of the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people, including Israeli settlement policies, the annexation of Palestinian lands, or attempts to forcibly displace Palestinians from their homeland. The international community's duty today is to address the severe humanitarian suffering endured by the Palestinian people, who remain steadfast in defending their land. The kingdom asserts that this position is a principled, non-negotiable, and non-bargainable stance. A just and lasting peace cannot be achieved unless the Palestinian people obtain their legitimate rights in accordance with international resolutions. This has been communicated clearly to both previous and current administrations of the United States. Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The 5th of February 2025 C06 Shop in 1446 AH. Donald Trump's suggestion that the USA could take over and own Gaza while relocating its residents has been met with shock and condemnation. As for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he stated that the idea is worth paying attention to. Alhamdulillah, the proposal was outright rejected by Arab nations, particularly Saudi Arabia and Egypt, as well as some US allies. This was reported by the BBC. Trump's idea contradicts the 1949 Geneva Convention, which states, mass forcible transfers to any country are prohibited, regardless of their motive. An additional update in 1977 added, civilians shall not be compelled to leave their own territory for reasons connected with the conflict. This was cited by the Washington Post. Even among Israelis, there is opposition to Trump's proposal. Ronen Nutra, the father of Israeli soldier Omer Nutra, killed in the Hamas attack on October 7, 2023, expressed shock and disapproval to the Israeli media outlet Highness. This was reported by CBS. May Allah al-Qahar protect our Muslim brothers and sisters in Gaza. Introducing Gaza City, Palestine. Historically, Gaza City was inhabited by the Canaanite tribe, one of the Arab ethnic groups. Gaza is among the oldest cities in the world, with the Canaanites settling there around 3000 BC. Arabs refer to it as Gaza Hasim, named after Hashim ibn Abd-Manaf, one of the ancestors of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is reportedly buried there. Today, Gaza is the most well-known city in Palestine. Located on the Mediterranean coast, it borders Israel to the north and east, and Egypt to the south. It lies 78 kilometers southwest of Al-Quds, Jerusalem, home to Al-Aqsa Mosque. Its coastal position and strategic location as a bridge between Asia and Africa make Gaza a vital defensive stronghold for Palestinians. In terms of population, Gaza is the most densely populated and largest city in Palestine. As of 2023, it has 641,936 residents within an area of just 59 square kilometers, smaller than Qadiri City in East Java. British forces captured Gaza during World War I, making it part of the British Mandate of Palestine. Later, Egypt administered the newly formed Gaza Strip. After the Six-Day War in 1967, Israel occupied Gaza, but transferred control to the Palestinian National Authority in 1993. Following the 2006 elections, armed conflict erupted between Fatah and Hamas, with Hamas seizing power. Egypt and Israel imposed a blockade on Gaza, partially lifted by Israel in 2010 for consumer goods. In 2011, Egypt reopened the Rafah border crossing for pedestrians. Gaza receives an average annual rainfall of 12 inches, 300 millimeters. Its economy relies on agriculture and small industries, but the blockade and conflicts have severely impacted it. The majority of Gaza's population is Muslim, with a small Christian minority. With 75% of residents under 25, the city is now governed by a 14-member municipal council. This concludes the summary about Gaza City. May Allah grant freedom to Gaza and Palestine soon. Sources: Wikipedia. Mudakaro Philistin. Author: Ahmad Shori. The issue of Palestine versus Zionist Israel. Question: what is causing the ongoing war between Palestine and Zionist Israel until now? Is it due to religion, politics, social issues, or culture? Answer: the primary cause is clearly the eternal enmity between Muslims and Jews. Because Allah has explained that the people of the book, Jews and Christians, will not be satisfied with us, Muslims, until we follow their teachings. Al-Baqarah 120. Allah addresses and warns his prophet, telling him that the Jews and the Christians will never be happy with him unless he leaves Islam and follows what they do. And that if he, or one of his followers, were to do such a thing, after the clear truth has come to them, they would not find protection or help from Allah. This makes clear the seriousness of leaving the truth and of following people of falsehood. Surah Al-Baqarah ayat 120. In addition, it is possible that there are other factors such as politics, social issues, and culture that further sharpen this conflict. But be assured that a good outcome is reserved for those who are pious. And victory belongs to those who strive to uphold monotheism, not merely those defending their homeland or for any other worldly reasons. When the Muslims around the world, especially in Palestine, have truly become obedient servants of Allah and steadfast in monotheism, then it is at that time that they will eliminate the Jews. The Jewish people will scatter and hide behind trees and rocks, and those trees and rocks will inform the Muslims that there is a Jew hiding behind them. The trees and rocks will cry out, "Listen carefully, O Muslim, O servant of Allah. There is a Jew behind me, so come and kill him." Hadith narrated by Bukhari and Muslim, from Abu Hurairah. Notice how the trees and rocks call out. They do so by mentioning the main characteristics of Muslims, namely Islam and servitude to Allah. Islam means surrendering to Allah by affirming His oneness, obeying Him, and opposing every form of polytheism and its adherents. This is further reinforced by referring to them as servants of Allah, meaning they serve only Allah, fight solely for Allah, not for the interests of any particular group or faction, nor out of nationalistic fanaticism, Arab versus Jew, but solely for Islam and Tawhid. Without embodying these two principles, it would be impossible for Palestine to return to the embrace of the Muslims. And Allah knows best. Answered by Yusuf Dr. Safai and Basweeden. Among the signs of the end times? Question. Ustad, does the recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of Israel constitute a sign of the end times? Because I have seen many comments on social media stating that the Israel-Palestine conflict is a sign of the end times. Answer. Alhamdulillah. May Allah grant both you and me steadfastness and faith until the end times. What is happening now can indeed be described as very distressing. How our brothers and sisters in Palestine are being slaughtered without pity by those who do not fear the fire. And the unification of disbelievers and hypocrites in their hostility toward the Muslims, as is occurring now, has been foretold by Rasulullah. The fall of Jerusalem to Israel can also be predicted if we relate it to the hadith concerning the weakness of the Muslim Ummah despite their numerical strength. In an authentic hadith it is mentioned, "The nations will gather against you as people gather around a platter. They will say, 'O Messenger of Allah, will we be few on that day?' He will say, 'No, you will be many, but you will be like the foam of the sea.' Allah will remove the terror from the breasts of your enemies and will inflict the disease on your hearts called al-Awwal. They will ask, 'What is al-Awwal, O Messenger of Allah?' He will say, 'It is the love of the world and the dislike of death.'" Hadith, narrated by Abdulaziz 4297. Yet what truly signifies the end times is the very revival of the Muslim Ummah itself. For Palestine will never be free from wars between Muslims and their enemies. All of these are but trials for the Muslim Ummah. Allah has decreed that a portion of His Ummah will remain steadfast and will never be defeated, as conveyed by Rasulullah. Soon there will always be, from my Ummah, a group that remains firm in the matter of Allah. No one will harm them who forsakes them, nor anyone who opposes them, until the command of Allah comes to them while they are steadfast in that firmness and faith. Umair said. Then Malik bin Uqamir said. Mu'ad said, "They are in the land of Ash-Sham." Then Muawiyah said, "This is Malik, who claims that he heard Mu'ad saying that a group of the Ummah is in the land of Ash-Sham." Hadith, narrated by Bukhari 3369. This means that no matter how fierce the onslaught from the enemies against the Muslims in Palestine, it will never wipe out the Muslim presence there. There is a guarantee that the Muslims in that land will continue to exist. And the jihad in that land will persist until the end times, until the caliphate is re-established on earth, in Ash-Sham. Rasulullah said while placing his hand on the head of Abdullah bin Hawala, "O son of Hawala, when you see the caliphate descend upon the Holy Land, al-Quds, then earthquakes, calamities, and great afflictions will be near. And on that day the hour will be closer to the people from this hand of mine than from your head." Abu Dawud said, Abdullah bin Hawala was from Himsh. Hadith, narrated by Abu Dawud 2173. Even the eventual victory of the Muslims in the end times, when they will overcome Dajjal, may Allah curse him, is mentioned in another hadith. Prophet Isa ibn Maryam will kill Dajjal at the gate of Lud. Hadith, narrated by Muslim 2937. Lud itself is the name of a place near Bayt al-Maqdis in Palestine, the land of Ash-Sham. May Allah always make it easy for us to continue contributing positively toward the victory and glory of the Muslim Ummah, whether in our present time or in the future. Wallahu alam. Wa billahi tawfiq. Answered briefly by Ustad Rosie and Abu Rosiada.